Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in this video we're taking a look at something else which is actually a bit of a throwback to the AEG very recent past. It's a metal collection item that I don't believe was ever released in Australia, and I included in my order of items from Trenino Thomas in the UK. It is one which I was really excited before because it's quite unique in terms of what's been released in the metal collection. And it's this here. It is the Troublesome truck, which you can see it looks to be a very curious item. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. This is the packet for the Troublesome truck. Again, it's got the new metal collection branding, so this must be presumably a re-release of the same truck, and perhaps these codes tell us something about what that means. I love that on this one we've got the writing tiny in the corner saying Troublesome truck. Very different to the large text that we usually have for these engines. We get a good picture of the Troublesome truck here, but unfortunately we come to the back and we get nothing else. So that is unfortunate. Again, interesting to see that we don't have the name in lots of different languages. So some fun little notes of things that we always pick up when we look at these packages, notwithstanding that they're generally all the same. All right, let me pull this out and let's take a look. Right, let's take a look at the truck face. You can see it's a very interesting Troublesome truck face in that it is like a concerned, presumably looking at his load face. I mean, it's very expressive. It's also very large, but it matches what you see in the show, which is both of the trucks are in funny colors, but also that they have truly ginormous faces. We've got printed buffers here on the front, which is nice to see. Come around to the side, it's great to see again. We've got some painted detail here for what would be the straps or supports, I should say, that would hold the planks in. Love to see that we've got printed wheels here, which is a change from a lot of the metal collection larger engines particularly. Printed buffers on the back, also awesome. Love to see that. And then we come around to in here. We've got some nice paneling details, which I definitely wasn't expecting. Nothing on the inside. This is just the big metal box essentially, but nice to see that paneling detail there. Come around to the bottom. We don't have a name, but we do have Thomas and Friends on there. And I understand it. This is essentially the chassis that they use for a lot of the Trackmaster rolling stock. And then they've also used that truck base that they use, and then they've kind of stuck this on the top. So it's a bit of a zombie in terms of how it's all put together, but it is pretty nice looking. And again, all of this shell is metal. This is plastic, but this is all metal. So it is quite hefty. Then you also get this removable load, and interestingly, this is two parts, which I wasn't expecting. So this is, you know, your crates that have that little thing on the bottom, so you can attach it to those, you know, Trackmaster trucks that have the little pogo pin in them. But it's really interesting to see that essentially, I suppose they weren't happy with that looked a bit empty, so they've gone and made a special part so that when the crates are in here, they look like they're overflowing. Again, does look a little bit ridiculous. Certainly this is much more safe and regulations, but I understand why they wanted to lean in and give us a separate part, and it's nice to see that. But yeah, this doesn't attach anywhere, it just kind of sits in there. And this does not have the wobble wheels like some of the Trackmaster trucks do. So yeah, it's a pretty nice looking truck. Let's do some quick comparisons to some other Trackmaster / metal engine style Troublesome trucks before we wrap up this review. For comparison, here is the wobbly truck that is in the Cranky set, and again you can see it's a very similar mold design, but not the same. The level of detail is certainly, it's very similar, but it's not the same. It looks like perhaps whereas the same mold used for this as this. Again, it seems like it's the same. If we have a look, it looks like the same mold was used, but this one was for plastic and this one was made from metal. Again, you can see here very similar designs. Looks like it might even be the same truck piece, but you come down to the bottom and it's quite a different chassis situation going on. And then this is the Troublesome truck that comes with the classic 80th anniversary Thomas, and again you can see similar design, but certainly not the same. And this is much lighter. And you will notice that this piece, which comes with the Troublesome truck, is the same as this piece. So there is some reuse going on. It does mean this is cross customizable. You can put this in here if you wanted to, so now this looks even more outrageous. But again, because this is a shorter truck, I think you kind of get that effect with this one that you do with this booster piece. So interesting series of trucks here. Very, very nice. And the last comparison I'll do really quickly is a comparison to the engines. Now, yes, this is insane. The truck is huge, but if you've watched All Engines Go, you'll know that the Troublesome trucks are huge in the show. I don't think they're this huge necessarily, but they are very, very big. So while this looks comically insane, it is not as crazy as it perhaps looks on first impression, given how the trucks and the engines scale in the show itself. So yeah, I think this is too big, even noting what it looks like in the show, but I don't think it's perhaps as funny as it might initially appear, or perhaps I should say not as inaccurate as it might initially appear. Quick final thoughts then on the Metal Collection Troublesome truck. It's a nice piece, but importantly, it's, I think, one of the only pieces of rolling stock that's been released, or that will be released presumably, in the Metal Collection line. It's great to see. Very disappointing about the poor distribution, but particularly this is the kind of thing which, if I saw this in the stores in Australia at the regular Australian retail price, I would probably have picked up half a dozen of them, so you could have a nice train of these trucks all together. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and given I've paid about 2.5 times retail to get these, I only got one, essentially so I could have one in the collection and review it for all of you. I think the load is fine. I personally would have liked to have seen some coal or maybe some slate or something in there rather than just boxes, but I appreciate the thought that's gone into it. So again, this Metal Collection, I think, line of All Engines Go, they really did get their best work and best designers on this line, I think, and they've done a really good job here with this one versus some of the other stuff that we saw in Trackmaster, particularly some of the other Troublesome trucks. So, as always, that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to hearing about your comments down below. This is Extreme Trains.